Eswatini, a leaked report by the International Consortium of Investigative journalists, has flagged that the country risks becoming a haven for hot money. That's as the probe into the flow of money has identified that Eswatini appears to be attracting a new group of grifters who enjoy an element of political protection. The Swazi secrets leaks further suggests that the centralization of authority in the monarch makes the kingdom vulnerable to corrupt financial networks. Journalist at the Africa report, Olivier Holmey, forms part of this project and speaks to us now. A very good evening to you, Olivier. First, let's talk about the damning findings that are in this report. To what extent is Eswatini then fast becoming the home of hot money?
Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. So this is something that has been raised by regional authorities for a while, the possibility that Eswatini becomes a hub of hot money for the broader region, for its neighbours, Mozambique and South Africa, and also beyond. But this had always been a sort of speculative belief. And what this Swazi leaks reveals, which is a leak of 900,000 documents, official confidential documents from the authority in Eswatini that is there to investigate and fight financial crime in the country. What it reveals is the extent to which there are suspicions of illicit flows through that country, and the extent to which as well the people at the top of the country closest to King Swazi III are protected from investigation, from prosecution, and then from ultimately conviction for those crimes.
Now, you've mentioned that up until this far, it's been quite speculative. Talk us through the tangible evidence that has been uncovered with this particular report and the series of other reports that are going to be subsequent to the first part.
So because these documents come from the Eswatini Financial Intelligence Unit, what we have are thousands and thousands of reports from the banks active in Eswatini, banks that are often the South African giants that have subsidiaries in that country, which report to this financial intelligence unit the dodgy transactions that they've seen their clients get involved in. And these clients tend to be, from the evidence we have, people who are very high up in the Eswatini government. They can be ministers, looking at people like Thulisile Dladla, Bertram Stewart, Themba Masuku. They can also be MPs, they can be judges of the High Court, royal advisors. And what these banks, First Rand and others present in Eswatini, are alerting the authorities in Eswatini to are the fact that these people might well be involved in money laundering, in embezzlement, and in acts of corruption. And one particularly interesting letter that was leaked to us as part of this investigation was by the chief officer of the King's Office, who wrote to First National Bank, which is the local subsidiary of First Rand, to tell the bank, this is a list of 25 members of the royal family of Eswatini, including the eldest son of the king and a princess who's also a minister in the Eswatini government. You are requested to render them any assistance they may require, even if they do not possess a salary advice slip. And the issue that this raises is very symptomatic of what we see in Eswatini, which is people in position of authority having this stamp of approval, this blanket stamp of approval from their superiors, from people very close to the king, saying the normal rules of money laundering, the checking of the source of funds, the checking of people close to power do not apply here.
Sure. As a parting shot, Olivier, what's also grave is that it may not be proven at this point. This may date back decades. And to what extent is accountability sought? As journalists, this is what we do, but authorities need to step in here. However, we know the challenges and the impediments that come with a monarch, a kingdom such as Eswatini.
Well, what's fascinating is that a few years back, the ICIJ had already revealed the FinCEN files, which was the sort of US equivalent of this African investigation, a look at the authorities that investigate financial crime in the US, and we're looking at those investigating financial crime in Africa. And we see that these financial intelligence units, which are so important to gather, to monitor what the banks and their clients are up to, are still a relatively new phenomenon in Africa. There's been one in South Africa for more than 20 years, but in Eswatini, for example, it's only been a dozen years, and places like Burundi still don't have them. So really, it's a matter of perhaps creating more of these infrastructures to monitor and supervise and fight financial crime, but it's also giving them the tools, the budget, the qualified staff, the independence to do it properly.
Thank you so much for your input. That is Olivier Holmey, journalist, speaking to us about the leaked reports that outline the irregularities around the flow of money in the Kingdom of Eswatini.